Hi BCPL, it's Nicole from the Nichols Branch Library, back to read more Nite-Nite stories with you this week. Tonight I'm going to be reading you two books. One book is fiction and the other book is nonfiction. And do you know what that means? Do you know the difference between fiction and nonfiction? Well, if you don't, I am going to tell you. Fiction is imaginary stories. They're made up. They are imaginary people, imaginary scenarios, just completely made up from imagination. Nonfiction books are real people, real stories, real events, history, science, real things that have happened. So for our first book, I decided to read a fiction book, which remember, it is made up, it is not real. It's not a bed, it's a time machine. And this book is super cool. I really like the idea of it. So I hope you're laying in bed and I hope your teeth are brushed and you're ready to read a bedtime story with me. So let's get started. And this book is written by Mickey Rapkin, illustrated by Teresa Martinez. It is not a bed, it's a time machine. Good night, kiddo. Be brave. You're the boss of bedtime. Me? Brave? I wasn't so sure. Bedtime means lights out, with dark corners and spooky sounds. Don't be afraid of bedtime, Floppy said. This isn't a bed, it's a time machine. Think about it, Floppy said. You brush your teeth, get under the covers, and then what? Bam! It's morning. Where did the hours go? Close your eyes. Imagine your next adventure. Then it's blast off. In 5, 4, 3, 2, fine! You know what I saw next? I'll give you one Tyrannosaurus guess. Dinosaurs. Hundreds of them. Whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Is that safe? Floppy mumbled. But I was already climbing a tree branch, which wasn't a tree branch at all. It was a dinosaur, Floppy shouted. Run! Then the dinosaur licked my hair? You're not scary, I said. You just want to play. So we played fetch with his giant bone, and we played connect the dots with twinkly stars. It would have been awesome to hang out for 6 billion years, but I started missing home. We tried to leave, but my new friend wouldn't stop nibbling on my sock. I don't think he wants to be alone, Floppy whispered. But you're not alone, Dino Pal, I said. The other dinosaurs are always nearby. He had his family. Now it was time for me to see mine. Floppy and I climbed back into the time machine. Be brave, Floppy whispered. You're the boss of bedtime. When I opened my eyes again, the sun was peeking through. Look at your hair, Mom said. What happened? I had a dream my bed was a time machine, and a dinosaur licked me. And maybe it wasn't a dream after all. The end. I love that book so much. And do you guys ever wake up from a dream and you have to like look around and make sure that you're actually in your bed because it was so realistic? Because that happens to me all the time. Our next book that we are going to be reading is our nonfiction book, The Astronaut Who Painted the Moon. This book is based off history. It's based off a true story of Alan Bean. It is written by Dean Robbins and illustrated by Sean Rubin. My paintings record the beginnings of a quest never to end, our journey out among the stars. Alan Bean. Lights flashed, a rocket rumbled. Alan's Bean dream was about to come true. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The rocket roared off the launch pad. Alan shook in his heavy spacesuit. The other astronauts were shaking too. Richard Gordon flipped switches on the control pad. "That's a lovely liftoff," Pete Conrad shouted over the noise. The shaking stopped as the spacecraft gained speed. Alan was in outer space. He had trained for so long as an astronaut and a scientist, and soon he would be able to walk on the moon. Alan gazed out of the window, marveling at the shapes and colors in space. The sky turned to black. The Earth was a blue and white ball glowing in the darkness. The moon was many shades of gray. Its mountains and craters seemed bigger the closer he got. Alan loved to think about the way things looked. As a boy, he made model airplanes to hang in his room. Green for the wings, red stripes for the tail, yellow stars along the sides. He dreamed of being a brave pilot himself one day. Alan volunteered for Navy flight training. He learned to take off, soar through the air, and glide in for a smooth landing. The Earth looked breathtaking from the cockpit. The white clouds above, the green fields below, the blue all around. Alan wished he could paint what he saw. He found an art class to teach him about patterns and forms. Alan dabbed his brush on a canvas to paint a vase of flowers. His flowers didn't look exactly real, but he didn't want them to. They were brighter and bolder than real ones because he let his imagination take over. The painting showed how stunning the flowers looked through Alan's eyes, how they made him feel. The spacecraft flew 240,000 miles in 4 days. The moon was so close Alan could see valleys and ridges. He and Pete got ready to walk on a new world. Alan strapped on an oxygen pack so he could breathe outside. He stepped through the hatch to the most amazing sight. The moon was barren, but also beautiful in its own way. Great dust as far as he could see, thousands of black craters, hard white sunlight, and everything perfectly still. Alan and Pete pushed a red, white, and blue American flag into the dust. Alan puzzled over the strangeness of outer space. He and Pete took dozens of photographs. They set up scientific experiments to measure the moon's soil and gases. Even in his spacesuit, Alan was much lighter than on Earth. He had fun bouncing around on his tiptoes. He could run and run without getting tired. His boots made deep marks where no one had stepped before. Alan was super strong in the moon's gravity. He threw a rock and watched it go up, up, up. Would it ever come down again? The three astronauts zoomed back to Earth at 25,000 miles an hour. They splashed into the Pacific Ocean to end their awesome adventure. Alan's friends asked him about his time in space. What was it like up there? He tried to explain the moon's barren beauty, but words weren't enough, and his photographs just showed a grim and gloomy place. There was so much more to the moon than that, so much magic and mystery. How could Alan share his story so others would understand? He pulled out his paints and brushes. Alan knew he was the only artist ever to leave Earth, the only artist ever to see the moon up close. Maybe a painting could show how it felt to be in outer space. Alan began his work like a scientist. He built a model of the moon's surface and he used an electric light as the sun. The model helped him paint the angles and shadows just right. Then Alan let his imagination take over. He added red and purple to the gray dust, blue and green to the black craters, yellow and orange to the white sunlight. The moon didn't look exactly real, but Alan didn't want to. The painting showed how stunning outer space looked through his eyes, how it made him feel. He hoped others would feel the same thing, the wonder of walking on a new world. Alan liked his moon painting so much he did another one, and another after that. He mixed even brighter, bolder colors on his palette. Could he add real pieces of outer space to his paintings? Alan tried stamping them with astronaut boots. He scratched them with tools he'd used on the moon. He sprinkled dust from his spacesuit onto the wet paint. The surfaces grew as rough and rugged as the moon itself. A museum displayed Alan's paintings for everyone to see. Other astronauts came to remember their awesome adventures in space. Boys and girls came too. They marveled at the shapes and colors. They felt the wonder of walking on a new world. Some dreamed of being brave astronauts themselves one day. Others dreamed of being great artists. And some dreamed of being both. The end. I think that book is awesome. I think going to the moon would be absolutely crazy. I personally am scared of heights, so I don't think I would. But maybe you can one day. Maybe you can be an astronaut. So I think it's about bedtime for you and me. It was nice reading another bedtime story with you again, and I hope that you can tune in next time, and I hope that sometime you can make it to the library and pick out a fiction or a nonfiction book of your choice. So have a good night-night from us here at Nichols, and we hope to see you next time. Bye!